Okay, let's start today.
Okay.
Last week I made a recording, but no voice.
No voice. Oh, okay.
It's because of just a recording. I just take miss operation. So today is, let me try to start first. It's let's see. Okay, this one is first. Huh? No, this one is first. Unno is very famous person, and just have a look at this. I don't prepare this in material, but Mohammed Yunus he's Nobel laureate and economist, and he just maybe somewhere is writing down what he did. He's microfinance for the, here this is new economies of zero poverty, zero unemployment. So in Bangladesh. Okay, but it's a very good video, so you have a look. Okay, let's see. 12 minutes.
Mohammed Yunus, thanks for joining me on Upfront. We're going to talk about your new book, A World of Three Zeros, in a moment, but I have to start talking with you about perhaps the biggest story in the world right now in many ways, because you are one of a select band of individuals who have been honoured with a Nobel Peace Prize, and yet one of your fellow Nobel Peace Laureates, Aung San Suu Kyi, currently seems to be complicit in brutal violence, ethnic cleansing, possibly genocide against the Rohingya Muslim minority in Myanmar. How does that make you feel?
I feel terrible. It's the most shameful thing, terrible thing that happened. To me, it's the number one news item right now, and I feel it every day because the people are coming. I'm from the same region where the Rohingya people are coming in Chittagong. I feel this Nobel Peace Prize that she got, she had one image, whole world showered with admiration and respect for her. Now she could completely reverse her position. She has another face, which is about the atrocities, about killing her own citizens. These Rohingyas were born there, lived there for generations, and when the country became independent, they were automatically became the citizens. They participated in politics. They sent their representatives in the parliament. They were the cabinet members. Suddenly, in 1982, military government comes with the idea they are no longer citizens.
So let me ask you this: in Myanmar right now, what we're seeing is what the UN has called a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. Last year, you signed a letter to the UN Security Council with a dozen other Nobel laureates expressing, quote, frustration at Aung San Suu Kyi for her refusal to act on this issue. Just to be clear, because a lot of people...
This is last year. Okay.
And this video is...
Yeah, video last year. No, this video is this year.
Okay.
Just before, this October. But he signed for the criticize for Aung San Suu Kyi last year for the textbook of the United Nations. Okay?
People kind of point the blame in different directions. How much blame do you place on her directly for the current crisis, for this ongoing violence and refugee movement?
I'll put 100% of the blame on her because she is the leader. She can say that the army is pushing me or somebody.
A lot of people would say the military are really in charge. What can she do?
Well, then she should resign.
She should resign.
Their own citizens. It's not a few people.
So by staying on, she's blessing the military operation.
That's it. And all around there, verbally, she's defending it. She says, I don't know why these people are going. No, we don't have atrocity. No, it is our Arakanese who are attacking us. All kinds of things. There is no atrocities in villages, burning of villages. These are all false. She made that statement. These are all false news. So she takes
she made a false statement.
all the blame herself.
Yeah, false statement.
So there's no way you can part it with the military or anybody else. She gets all the blame and she's responsible for it and she has to fix it.
So when your fellow Nobel Peace Laureate Jose Ramos Horta of East Timor, who signed that letter with you last year, but a few months ago he was on this show and he was basically defending Aung San Suu Kyi. He said she's handling a very complex, delicate situation. She cannot antagonize the military. Quote, criticism probably is misdirected more to her than to the military. What do you say to him?
I'll say the same thing. I mean, if she cannot say the things she should say, then she is no leader. Leader is supposed to stand by their own people.
Have you had any contact with Aung San Suu Kyi yourself in recent?
I met her several times before, not before this incident, before the election.
Yeah.
I mentioned about Rohingyas and so on. She said, well, I have to be very careful about the military. I cannot say anything. Okay. But when the election is over, if I'm the winner, I'm definitely taking a stand in favor.
Oh, she said that to you?
She said that to me.
Oh, well, so she's gone back on that interview. And if you could speak to her directly today, what would you say to her? What should she be doing?
I said, you have to stand up. You have to protect your image that you built over years as a defender of human rights, a defender of democracy. What happened to all those values that you have promoted? Stand by them. It's not the military, it's not somebody else. You suffered the house arrest and all this for years and years. You believe in some principles. What happened to those principles? Is it because just you want to stay in power? You have to go along with military and everybody else? What would they do? They'll put you back into prison or something like that.
Do you think she still deserves that Nobel Peace Prize?
If she had all this story in front of the committee, I'm sure committee will never give her the prize.
Just talking about your own country, Bangladesh, which is hosting 1 million Rohingya refugees who have fled persecution in Myanmar. I think more than 500,000 just since August alone.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has been commended by a lot of people in the international community for taking in the refugees, for speaking on behalf of refugees. But let's be honest, Bangladesh is a poor country with a bunch of domestic problems that need tackling. How long can it continue to host this growing Rohingya refugee population within it?
It's not only simply economic issue. It's a political issue. It's a security issue. So you have 1 million people who belong to another country, came to your country, and they are already taking up arms against their situation, and it becomes a den of all the terrorist activities very soon. And all the international connections of the terrorism will begin, and this will be terrible for Bangladesh and terrible for the region. And all these things will come on in an explosive way as days go by. So I'm saying that it has to be resolved very fast before all those elements can be active and create trouble for everybody.
Okay. Many are concerned that in Bangladesh, Hifazat-e-Islam, the quote-unquote Islamist pressure group in Bangladesh, is exploiting the influx of Rohingya refugees. They're organizing mass protests around the issue. They're even threatening to wage jihad against Myanmar if, quote, the army doesn't stop torturing Muslims. How worried are you that groups like Hifazat are getting a big PR boost in Bangladesh from the Rohingya crisis and becoming even more influential in what was once traditionally deemed to be a secular democracy, not an Islamist country?
This issue, the Rohingyas and the refugees, will become the fodder for all kinds of negative activities, including the extreme on the terrorism. So these are only demonstrations. I'm worried about the terrorism that it will breed because of the frustrations in the young people. We are not seeing the young people yet, but when they came, mostly were women and children. These children will grow up. Who's giving them the education? Who's giving them the future? What is the future they look up to? So they will be very ready.
You believe the Rohingya refugee crisis is a recruiting sergeant in a sense for the
Absolutely. I say that it's a concentrated hub for recruitment and promotion of terrorism.
And just one last question on this issue. On Bangladesh and on Myanmar, Sheikh Hasina has said that Myanmar has pretended like they wanted a war. The Bangladeshi government have accused Myanmar drones and choppers of violating its airspace. Are you worried that this conflict could erupt into an outright open war between the two countries?
That is a regional security issue right now. Which direction it will take, we don't know. Because in the name of Rohingya, something will happen. Somebody will use the Rohingya name to make it happen. So any direction it can go. It's not only between Bangladesh and Myanmar. I'm saying all the regional countries will become involved in it. India will get involved with it. Pakistan will get involved with it. All the terrorist groups will involve with Middle East and so on. How many countries will get involved? God knows. Because this is a very attractive thriving area, staging area for the terrorist activities.
Mohammed Yunus, let's talk about your new book, A World of Three Zeros, the new economics of zero poverty, zero unemployment, and zero net carbon emissions. It's focused on capitalism, in particular unfettered capitalism and growing wealth inequality around the world. You write in the book that the structure of the present economic system is, quote, a ticking time bomb waiting to destroy everything we've created over the years. What do you mean by that exactly?
Well, very simple thing, that the way the concentration of wealth is taking place in the world, it is just leading to the ticking time bomb any day to explode. Today, 8 people in the world own more wealth than the bottom half of the entire world's population. And tomorrow it will be one person will be owning half the population's worth of wealth in the hand of one. And day after, probably one person will own 85% of the wealth of the entire world. This is the direction. It will not be far-flung time period. It's just about next few years it will happen.
So a lot of people who read your book or listen to you speak now, especially on the right, will say, look, there is a problem with wealth inequality, income inequality, but you're not looking at the big picture, which is the growth of incomes across the board. You acknowledge in the book that since 1990, global extreme poverty has been cut in half. If you look at China, for example, that's had a lot to do with economic growth. 800 million people have been lifted out of poverty there since 1980. That's a kind of capitalism too.
Yeah, it is capitalism. It is capitalism which is helping people get out of poverty in a slow motion way again. But when you talk about the growth of the economy, I'm not concerned about the growth of the economy. I'm concerned with the growth of people.
So what do you say to people who read your book and say, but you're deliberately vague about A, how you switch to this new system of yours, and B, how your system would actually lead to zero poverty and zero unemployment as a big goal?
Yeah, I mentioned that because I'm saying every business should have a parallel business of social business. And this is because we have it, not because I'm imposing on it. If you feel that, yes, you want to contribute, you want to play a part in solving problems of unemployment, problem solving of the housing, healthcare, and so on and so forth, all the things that we know.
Yeah.
If you can play that, everyone doing that, this problem will be solved at the same time.
But you know, you're not the first to say that. It sounds very utopian. You talk in the book about super happiness. We need to taste super happiness. Great in theory, but how do you do it in the real world? What makes
the full sentence is making money is happiness, making other people happy is a super happiness.
Again, very vague. These are economic concepts.
It's not a vague.
It is vague. You can't measure stuff like that.
No, I understand. I keep telling when people say, oh, I don't feel super happiness. I said, because you have not done that. I said, why don't you just try? And instead of saying that food that in front of you.
Okay, but that's a very micro approach, telling individuals to be happy. It's almost like a self-help game. Systemic. Yours is a systemic critique of capitalism. Do you have a systemic replacement and a way to get there?
Yeah. Systemic replacement is there are two kinds of business.
Yeah.
It's your choice. Capitalist system is all about choice. That's what they pride about. We have choice. But when it comes to business, there is no choice. You have to make money. You have to make a profit. You have to maximize profit. I said, that's not an option. You give people option. Let them choose whether they want to do that, making profit maximization, or change the world by creating social business, addressing the problem. You have not even addressed that issue.
You say in your book that people without a future get angry, and that desperately poor people will be driven to crime. Would you extend that analogy about marginalized, angry people turning to crime to the debate over radicalization? Is that what's also driving young people, especially young men in places like Bangladesh, into the arms of groups like ISIL in your view?
If the wealth concentration continues the way it does, it will generate tremendous amount of anger in the bottommost people. It will come out in politics, it will come out in social interactions, it will come out in economics. And I gave the example, probably Brexit is an example of that. They are blaming the others for taking away their job, their income, and so on. And politicians use this kind of feeling and say, yes, you vote for us, we will stop that immigration come out of the European Union.
But just specifically on the issue of radicalization, do you believe these socio-economic trends and pressures are feeding into the radicalization?
Anger goes in all directions. Radicalization is a part of that. So if you're angry, you do all kinds of things. So logic doesn't guide you anymore. Not only in Brexit, I said, even in US elections, same thing happened. The people at the bottom got very angry with the system. They protested against it. In German election recently, the people who were never expected to be in the parliament, they got 13% of the seats.
Yeah.
I said, these are probably the reaction generated at the bottom because they are frustrated. They are angry because they see the system is not working for them. I said, it will become worse and worse.
Ahmed Yunus, thank you for joining me on Upfront.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What is opinion for the poor people of Bangladesh? He didn't say that, but actually, the Bangladesh is lots of poor people, younger people,
Yes.
frustrated,
Yes.
and they need to consider for those people for the employment, and it means the government need to consider for how to handle for those people. And this is what he said, but what is the solution for those unemployment? He said, okay, company try to get profit, only chasing profit, it's not good.
Right.
So he said that he need to share those profit, right?
Super happy.
So it means actually the basic income type of approach, like not socialism, but capitalism, but his opinion might be consider for tax system or consider for the profit sharing system, sort of thing. He just used his opinion, right? But he didn't say that. But this might be the counterpart of Hillary Clinton. Who was that? The guy is very similar opinion he had. Sanders.
Yeah, Bernie.
Bernie Sanders. Very similar opinion, Bernie Sanders. And just maybe he want to say try to free for education and university free. And if you're going to be doctor, okay, just government will take care of all your money. This is university free entrance, right? And education and free healthcare system. And also the unemployment, okay, just you lost job. Like Holland, they're going to pay money for those people if you don't get job. And Finland is the same. This is similar to the basic income system. The sort of system they were going to start in the world. And he just talking about sort of things, maybe. I don't know, he don't say that, but maybe he just read something in his book. And how to find for them more very similar to the concept of Bhutan, okay? Happy country.
Yeah. Gross national happiness.
Yeah, gross national happiness. But this is what is the best is, but unemployment, okay? Unemployment, lost job, people, government are going to pay money for permanently, but this causes another problem. They are not willing to find their job. So I say, you need to consider for that. And also currently I'm writing in Africa. Africa is some country, they have more than 50% young people, they don't have job. How are they going to find job for them? It's almost impossible. It takes 20 years, more than that. Right? So government cannot handle for those issues. And every president or prime minister said they try to encourage foreigners to make investment for those countries, but it's not easy. Right? This is what he said. So okay, but front half of his opinion for the Aung San Suu Kyi, exactly right opinion. He said, I completely agree with you. And Mr. Abe strongly criticized Aung San Suu Kyi. You should resign. Okay, you should resign. Whatever your opinion, I don't want to hear you. You should resign. Otherwise, you are not certificate. You are not the person certificated by Nobel laureate, right? So you should not do that. This is right.
And as I said to you, the England has taken the prize away.
Oh, right. Oxford.
Yeah.
Oxford, right? Okay, next is inside the story where Aung San Suu Kyi stepped up to halt Rohingya crisis. Okay. Global pressure is mounting on Myanmar's army and the country's leader Aung San Suu Kyi to end the killing and displacement of Rohingya Muslims. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called the killing catastrophic and completely unacceptable. He says the Myanmar military should suspend its operation in the western Rakhine state and allow Rohingya to return to their villages. At least 400,000 people have fled to Bangladesh since the violence escalated late last month. As more Rohingya flee to Bangladesh, what will it take to stop this violence? Okay, this presenter and guest, so they discuss for 20 minutes. Okay, let's have a look. This is very interesting. Okay, no, this one. Okay, discussion.
Catastrophic and completely unacceptable. The words of UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres describing the attacks against Muslim Rohingya in Myanmar. As more people flee to Bangladesh, what would it take to stop this violence? This is Inside Story. Welcome to the program. I'm Jane Dutton. Global pressure is mounting on Myanmar and its leader Aung San Suu Kyi to end the killing and displacement of Muslim Rohingya. The UN has urged the government to take immediate steps to stop the violence. Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on Myanmar's military to suspend its operation in the western Rakhine state and allow Rohingya to return to their villages. At least 400,000 people have fled to Bangladesh since the violence escalated late last month. We have a lot to get to with our guest, but first James Bayes sets up...
Okay, when this video prepared is about September.
Yes.
Okay.
Our discussion from UN headquarters in New York.
Oh, New York.
These were the toughest words yet from the Secretary General on the ongoing violence in Myanmar.
I call on the Myanmar authorities to suspend military action, end the violence, uphold the rule of law, and recognize the right of return of all those who had to leave the country.
The UN knows the situation is deteriorating fast. When Mr. Guterres last spoke to reporters a week ago, there were 125,000 Rohingya refugees. That number has now tripled.
Given the situation has got so much worse in the last week, do you believe this is ethnic cleansing? Well, I'll answer your question with another question. When 1/3 of the Rohingya population had to flee the country, can you find a better word to describe it?
The Secretary General has already taken the extremely rare step of writing to the Security Council urging them to take action. As he spoke, the Council was meeting, first with an open session on Somalia. It was only after that ended and they went into closed session, and when they discussed any other business, that the crisis in Myanmar was finally raised. Afterwards, the President...
By the way, Somalia is beforehand non-state country, failed state. But now is they're going to start new president.
New president?
Yeah, new president. And they're going to start to settle the turmoil. But we don't know what's going on next year. But also they have one country, Somaliland, in the northern part of Somalia. They try to they want to be independent. But also this one is not, I don't know what's going on, but Somalia itself is, they are improving for the state situation of non-state, non-government state. Now is appointed the president elected, so we're going to be getting more better next year, maybe stable. And but the country, the majority area still Al-Shabaab is a terrorist. It's like Afghanistan. Taliban. It's a similar situation that existed. Also, tribes is conflict. Tribes conflict is existed. So this kind of issue is still unsolved in Somalia. But the government itself is Mogadishu is more stable rather than before.
The Security Council read a carefully worded statement that was nowhere near as strong as the words of the Secretary General.
The members of the Security Council expressed deep concern about the situation in Rakhine State, acknowledging the initial attack on Myanmar security forces on 25th August.
Should Myanmar stop all its military operations in the state now? That's what the Secretary General says. Does the Security Council share that view?
Now, that the statement that I read out is what we have agreed.
There are some who'll see that as a very weak statement.
Some may say.
So why is the Security Council not being tougher? There's always a logjam when there's a lack of unity and when one of the permanent 5 members is opposed to action. In this case, diplomats point to China, a long-standing ally of Myanmar's military. James Bayes, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
China wavered for the adopting for the statement.
Let's bring in our guests in Bangkok. Phil
He
Robertson,
supported
Deputy
to
Asia
Myanmar.
Director for Human Rights Watch, joining us from Yangon in Myanmar, Abdul Rashid, founder and chairman at the Rohingya Foundation Community. And in London, Wang Zani, a human rights activist. Very warm welcome to all 3 of you. Abdul Rashid, at this rate, are there going to be any Rohingya?
Oh, his guy is white jacket guy is from Rohingya.
Yeah.
She must be too much exciting.
Outrage.
Outrage. He
Of course,
got
still many Rohingya already left inside the Rakhine state, but they are in a very severe situation. And they are very facing huge problem for the food. As a food, they don't have a food. So many people is on the way to Bangladesh. So and many people a few days, maybe many days on the way. So without food and water. So this is huge catastrophe as well. The people facing inside the Myanmar as well.
We are hearing that almost 40% of Rohingya villages are empty. I mean, from a military perspective, that's almost a job done, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, maybe as the footage we're receiving and information we're receiving is about half of the population already destroyed, and more than 400,000 already left, went to the Bangladesh, and around 100,000 is on the way and inside the jungle and inside the mountain and the water, river, wherever they trying to leave the country as well. So, and they don't feel secure here. So most important thing is need people security and the protection. What they don't find the protection here.
And Phil Robinson, I'm just wondering from your experience, what you see on the ground, how this is playing out, this situation that has been called ethnic cleansing.
We're calling it ethnic cleansing. We agree with the Secretary General that there is ethnic cleansing taking place there. Also with the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Mr. Zaid, who also called it ethnic cleansing. What is happening is a scorched earth campaign that is designed to essentially stampede the Rohingya out of northern Rakhine states, and then sort of a cleanup
Huh?
I don't think バッテリー残量低下電源に接続しない場合 so somehow your computer is not connected to the power.
Why? This one. This one. Okay.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Safe.
It doesn't take much hours. It's just I connected 1 hour before, but now it's almost spend them up, right? Oh, 1 hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
operation where either army or local Rakhine Buddhists are setting alight the villages that have been abandoned. It's created a massive humanitarian crisis on the Bangladesh border, and it's created wide swaths of northern Rakhine states that no longer have a Rohingya there. That's the classic definition of ethnic cleansing. We're going to be coming out overnight with new information showing that we've 59 different villages that have been destroyed by arson. A number of those we have sensory data from environmental satellites. Others we have satellite imagery, which is still hard to come by because, of course, it is monsoon season. So a lot of times we're fighting with cloud cover to get a clear picture of what's taking place. But the devastation is widespread, and it is obviously designed to stampede these people out of the country and to ultimately keep them out, because I think that there's very little likelihood without a concerted effort by the international community that Burma will ever allow these people to come back to the northern Rakhine State.
And Phil, you are hearing at the same time horrific stories of what's been done to men, women, and children.
Well, right now we're investigating at least 5 massacres where people have been, a village was surrounded and people were slaughtered. In most cases, what we have found is that people were able to get away from their village. Sometimes they were shot at. Sometimes they were hit with mortars so that there were shrapnel wounds. But in many cases, it appears that they're trying to stampede people out of these areas. They're trying to get them on the run and drive them out of the country. That seems to be the major intent right here. And, you know, if that requires the military of Burma killing some people, well, obviously they're willing to do that. They need to be held accountable. There needs to be a global arms embargo on Burma. And and there needs to be a suspension of all military ties that have grown up with the Burmese military in countries like Australia, the US, the UK, and others.
Wangzani, if we are seeing an ethnic cleansing unfolding here, what
what he is talking is useless. Even embargo for weapon, embargo for something, but it's too late, right?
do you think the end game is?
Well, the end game is the eradication of the Rohingya as a group, and that takes us to a serious discussion about why the UN is pussyfooting around this issue, using the word ethnic cleansing, which is ahistorical and completely
Exactly right.
non-contextual, given the fact that my country and that my friends who are running the army, have a verifiable, inferable intent to destroy this group as a matter of policy. We have in Burma, my relatives are in the army, different branches, and there is more than enough evidence to establish that the intent behind driving these people out is not simply to secure the geographic location, but to destroy them as a community and to destroy their history, erase their identity. That is the classic definition. However you define it, however we define the term genocide, either narrowly, legally, which UN attempts to do, and human rights organizations with lots of lawyers attempt to do, or sociologically, as the original framer of the term genocide, Raphael and Kimball would want it. And so, if you look at...
Okay, well then tell me what you think is happening and what the military is trying to achieve here. What is it then?
That the military is trying to cleanse the entire area and restore it to the original state, which they think has no Muslims historically there. And so I think that, the expelling people, driving them, by the thousands, starting in 1978, with spikes of massive violence, killing thousands, raping hundreds of women, periodically, every 10, 15 years. The army has been doing it for almost 40 years. And if you look at the conditions, physical and biological conditions, under which the entire Rohingya population has been kept, the intent is to...
I didn't know this, okay. And this time is why the military attacked the Rohingya people, because Rohingya people attack many police stations concurrently, 20 or 30 police stations concurrently attack, and they kill some people, and then military attack Rohingya. So first, initially caused problem is Rohingya people. And I don't know how come he did that, because of the consider for balancing military power. It is kind of ridiculous, issues they did. Maybe last week 2 weeks ago I discussed with you this, because it's military tried to get into the Aung San Suu Kyi's problem. Get into trap. That's the reason Rohingya forced Rohingya to attack a police station. Then police station, and then after that, but still I don't understand very well about how come Aung San Suu Kyi he's telling a lie for how to handle Rohingya people. But actually, initial starting for the problem is the Rohingya people.
Really?
Yeah, attack police station, many concurrently, 20 or 30 people police station.
But that's, you're talking about last year, right?
Last year.
Last year,
or maybe this year, early this year. Then military attack Rohingya. No, not last year. I think this year.
This year, yeah.
Rohingya people attacked the police station in the Rakhine.
But last year,
Rakhine state.
But last year, remember the original video we were watching weeks ago, where last year they're talking about tensions are building up between Rohingya and others.
Building?
Tension.
Oh, okay. Rohingya attacked the police station.
Yeah, but
this initially,
No, Rohingya attack. You said Rohingya attack police station is this year, 2017. I'm talking about video from 2016.
Oh, okay. Just beforehand, they had problem. Okay, but small strike. Small strike. But kind of this ethnic cleansing started this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of Rakhine State, Rohingya people attacked police station this year. That's the reason why. The military decided, okay, kill them.
Okay.
But I didn't know that past many years they had many strikes before, but not big one.
Every 15.
Not big one. But this one is big one because Rohingya people attacked the kind of, police station.
But he said every 15 years the military has been raping.
Yeah, but not so big issues.
Not big
Small,
issues.
Rape or something, killing. But not big, kind this time.
Right.
To gradually, physically destroy this community, biologically stop them.
Okay, I'm going to bring in Abdul Rashid here. I mean, what do you think can be done if we are seeing a form of ethnic cleansing here to get all the Rohingya out of the country? What is going to stop the military now? Who is going to stop the military now? I mean, you've heard from the United Nations and they've just expressed deep concern. Is that enough?
What we believe is we want to peace and peace in our country. We want to see the peace. So I think for the Burmese military and for the Myanmar government as well, is the most important thing to realize the voice of the international community and the tune of the word of the General, the Secretary General of the United Nations is very, very important. So they have to respect, and maybe it's very good to them to listen the voice of the international community.
But why would they listen to the international community when they know that nobody's going to come in and stop them?
I think if they're not stopped right now, maybe a situation going more worse than we are seeing. The tune is very different than others before previously they used. So I think Burmese military and the Myanmar government has to understand the tune of the Secretary General. This used word is very, very important. That's why, and for the solution is the most important. First is to stop the current operation, very important, and secondly, and to open all the access to the humanitarian aid. People need to be feeded, and then people need medicine as well. And the third thing is possible return of the people who already left the country and bring them with the peace and the security and with the dignity. That is very, very important. I think these are implementable.
Okay, but to pick up on what you said a little bit earlier on, Phil, I mean, why would the Rohingya return back to Myanmar? They know that they're not wanted. The situation is not likely to change anytime soon. Is there anything Aung San Suu Kyi, I just want to ask Phil this, is there anything, do you think, that Aung San Suu Kyi can do? Does she have any control over the military at all? It doesn't seem to be the case.
There's a couple points here, I think. In terms of what can be done by the international community, there has to be pressure put on Min Aung Hlaing and the Burma Army. They're the people who can stop this immediately. And what we're talking about here, to start with, is as I mentioned, a global arms embargo, no one being able to sell arms to Burma, but also going after...
But his opinion is stupid.
...for any sort of program that has been introduced to work with the Burma Army. And there are a number of militaries around the world who have moved towards that, and they need to suspend those programs. More importantly, I think we need to be looking at possible reintroduction of economic sanctions.
Who he is? Is he American?
Not sure.
His accent is not Australian.
Look at the U.S. involvement there from a military point of view.
U.S. involvement is right. That actually the Tillerson visited Myanmar, right?
Yes.
But didn't couldn't persuade her, right?
The British involvement from a military point of view, the fact that China supports what is going on.
No, China support is, no, China is support Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay? Because China want to looking for the business in Myanmar. Making dam and some infrastructure business and highway rail. So why not against her?
Right? She wants business.
Yeah. That she met with Xi Jinping and then make agreement. You were right. So I tell you this okay, how about Trump? Okay, Trump is America first. And Aung San Suu Kyi, okay, we're going to make investment, but instead of what kind of profit she was going to give to America? If America can make a bottom line, get much more better profit, okay, I'm going to lot of investment for you. This is Trump approach, right? And then she does not consider for the Myanmar's future. She don't care. But only in the world, just only Japan is very fair, righteousness, fair to involve in Myanmar. So Mr. Abe can say something, right? You should do that. You should do that. And if you stop it, and then we're going to invest your country, or we're going to take care of you. Why he doesn't say that? Only Japan can do that, right? This guy is
well, I mean, if there is a global arms embargo that is proclaimed by the UN Security Council, China's going to have to abide by that, along with Belarus and Russia and Israel and all these other countries that sell arms to the Burma army. But, you asked the question about Aung San Suu Kyi. Aung San Suu Kyi, of course, under the 2008 Constitution, doesn't have authority over security matters. That's given completely to the Burma army.
Yeah, she doesn't have a security matter. And several issues is army governed, so kind of issues of this country. Security and like Rohingya, minority ethnic and military control, and one more thing, something I forgot. Military was itself, I forget. 3 areas military occupied for this government.
Oh, by the way, I think he speaks American English.
Yeah. So I told you, is he American?
I think so.
Yeah, but stupid.
But she does have a moral obligation to stand up. She has a stature internationally that, while damaged, is still fairly strong. She has strong popularity within the nation of Burma. Many people still support her, and she needs to step up and differentiate herself from what the Burma army is doing. She has to say, look, these things that they have done have gone much too far, and we are going to investigate, and we're going to allow the UN to investigate. As foreign minister, she is the person who makes the decisions about whether the fact-finding mission that was mandated by the UN Human Rights Council.
She said this is actually the September, right? So we do not need to fact-finding. We don't need to any investigation. It's clearly ethnic cleansing is undergoing now, right? So
has the right to enter the country or not? She should say, yes, we're going to let them in, and we're going to urge them to go wherever they need to go to fulfill their mandate, and we respect the mandate of the Human Rights Council.
Okay, Abdul,
and if the army has a problem with that, well, then the army has to step up and
do you know Pope came to the Myanmar last week? Pope.
Okay.
Myanmar last week, and he didn't touch anything about Rohingya. Why?
He didn't?
Yeah, no. Why? Do you know why?
No.
His followers asked him to stop speak up Rohingya. If Pope will going to speak out Rohingya ethnic cleansing and any opinion to the Aung San Suu Kyi, now Myanmar will going to attack Christian people. So his followers is recommend him not to speak about Rohingya. And instead, if you're going to criticize, Burma government, and then they're going to military attack the Christian people in Myanmar. So then he didn't speak anything at all. You saw why you did go there, right?
Yeah, why did he go there?
resist it, but then they're the villain, not her.
Why would Aung San Suu Kyi step in and side with the victims, whereas in fact she is very much in sync with the military on this, and she controls, except like the 2 or 3
what she should do. I'm not saying, I don't know if she's going to do it or not. I mean,
This one. Move in sync with military.
She may not do it. But what the question was,
She has
what should
not
she
done
do?
it.
And this is what
She
she
has
should
that
do.
But by not
I know
condemning,
she hasn't done it.
let me bring in Abdul here. By not condemning, Abdul, is she providing cover for the military?
It seems like that. We believe Aung San Suu Kyi have some limited power because of the 2008 constitution and the military, 25% of military in all the parliaments. So she has less control, and the 3 key ministry also in the hand of the military as well. But fact is, Aung San Suu Kyi is the de facto leader of this country. So she is the most responsible. She has to speak out loudly, whatever going against the human being. This is most important. She comes with the justice, and she comes with the right word to use. And please, she needs to use to stop whatever going on is not according to international law. It's a violation of the international law.
Exactly.
So she has to realize.
Okay, and Manga, I'm just wondering, I mean, I know that all the blame falls on Aung San Suu Kyi, but shouldn't it rather be the Commander-in-Chief, Min Aung Hlaing, who Phil spoke about a little bit earlier on, who controls the army, who Europe and other parts of the world lay out the red carpet for him? Shouldn't he be the one who is focused from a sanctions point of view, that he should be removed from his post? Until that happens, nothing's going to change in the army, which is anachronistic as well.
No, I know these guys personally. Like the guys, the top commanders in Min Aung Hlaing's office, like his senior deputies. They're my old friends, and it doesn't matter you remove Min Aung Hlaing, but that is why I say this is genocidal, because the army has institutionalized the view that the Rohingya need to be removed on cultural and national security ground from that by any means possible. There should be no Rohingya left standing by their name. That is why, whoever general is in charge, doesn't matter. The army is on an autopilot in terms of the Rohingya, eradication. That is why it's so crucial. We understand that this is an institutionalized killing, and the world needs to respond appropriately, accordingly. And I think this case indicates a spectacular failure, once again, of both the Security Council and the international community. We have failed over and over again in these cases, mass atrocities, whatever their legal names, ethnic cleansing, crimes against humanity, genocide. The fact is, UN is failing spectacularly. World leaders are failing spectacularly.
And it seems that the world is standing by while it's happening. And Phil, I'm just going to bring you in here, excuse me, jumping in. I'm just wondering where this leaves Bangladesh. They are in a situation where they are taking in all the Rohingya, the most unwanted people on the planet, I think it's fair to say. People are talking about a mini Palestine. They don't want them there. They can't afford to have them there.
Well, Bangladesh actually has stood up in a very important way. It was gratifying to see Sheikh Hasina go down to the camps and speak with the people and speak publicly about the fact that these people are citizens of Burma. These people are persons who have to go back to that country, and that they have been treated inhumanely by the government of Burma. Bangladesh needs all the support it can get right now, and I think that there has to be a priority from donor nations around the world to be as generous as possible with Bangladesh and with the UN agencies and international NGOs that are working there to be able to get the sort of food, medicine, basic shelter, and other essential elements of disaster relief to those people, because we're in the middle of the monsoon season. We're looking at the possible outbreaks of very serious waterborne disease. They've got no sanitation. A lot of people haven't eaten, for days. I mean, this is the disaster of the first order, and it needs to be dealt with that way.
Long, you were shaking your head
over
there.
a longer period of time, I don't know what Bangladesh is going to do. Bangladesh is going to face a difficult situation because
I think Phil hit the nail on its head. Bangladesh has stood up after having put up with the Burmese denial of the persecution in Burma, and that the profound impact that Bangladeshi society has to bear as a neighbor. This is an international issue. This is not a domestic issue. And I think one of the best ways to back Bangladesh is not only increasing the funding and providing moral and diplomatic support, but to recognize and back. When Bangladeshi foreign minister 2 days ago, this is genocide, and Turkish minister has said it. Scholars after scholars have said it, because it's so crucial that the crime be named by its legal name, so that we could have a serious push to to pressure Russia and China and others to come on board, or if not, we find solution outside of the UN Security Council. Security Council has not prevented or protected the innocent civilians in any genocidal situation since it was created in 1945 in San Francisco.
Okay, Abdul, I'm going to bring you in now. Aung San Suu Kyi is not going to be turning up at the United Nations General Assembly gathering on Wednesday, and yet we are expecting a State of the Nation speech from her on Tuesday. Any idea what she's going to say? I mean, she must have something in her mind. She's going to have to address this situation. What do you think it is that she will be able to say?
This is really difficult. I don't know. I think that she should, if she is a smart politician, she says she's not a human rights activist, she says she's a politician. She should be figuring out a way to differentiate herself from what has happened, what has been done on the ground by the Burma army. She should be trying to recognize the concerns of the international community and saying that, there needs to be actions taken. She needs to rededicate herself to the implementation of the Rakhine Advisory Committee report, which was the commission chaired by former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. There's a number of things she could say, but she's going to have to condemn in some way, shape, or form the actions of the Burma army on the ground, because quite clearly they are ethnic cleansing.
Well, okay.
And they, are likely to be labeled as crimes against humanity as well.
Before we draw to the end of the program,
He is not the type of decisive person, right?
Have someone like Aung San Suu Kyi,
No.
Who do you have? Do you think that's her strongest card at the moment?
No, what is the problem with us? We don't have only any choice without Aung San Suu Kyi, but Aung San Suu Kyi already facing the problem, many kind of challenges as herself, 2008 constitution and some other element also. But I think international community must come up with the more support to Aung San Suu Kyi, make her more strong. I think 2008 constitution is a need to be. I think it's very important to change the 2008 constitution where it's possible. Is very much important. I think without 2008 constitution, if not changed, I think it's very difficult to have.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thanks very much to all my guests, Phil Robertson,
One more guy is
and Abdul
stop
Rashid.
speak
We look
opinion.
forward to hearing what Aung San Suu Kyi has to say. Thank you
Yes.
as well for watching. You can see the program again anytime by visiting our website, aljazeera.com. Further discussion, go to our Facebook page.
She didn't give him
Facebook.com/AJ
make a final
Inside
speech.
Story. You can also join the conversation on Twitter. Our handle is @AJ Inside Story.
Okay.
Jane Dutton and the whole team here. Bye for now.
Okay, finish. So she didn't give him the last